will never have the chance to talk to her again. Will never have the chance to spend any time. Her children will never be able to see her again. It's hard. It's hard.
If you're hearing this, please let us know. Let someone know where she is. It's been 5 days now. Her children needs her. We miss her. We love her.
Elaine, what has your experience with him been like previously? Is this...
Overcome with emotion, Elaine Rucker fainting mid-interview.
I just want my mom because, like, it's hard with her not being here because I'm always with her, you know. It's like I can't live without her.
Okay, I need you to stop scrolling for a second, because what I'm about to drive you through is one of the most disturbing cases I've heard in a long time, and I don't say that lightly. We're talking about a man with a second-degree murder conviction already on his record, who married a woman, hid an entire second relationship from her for months, and when she found out and left him legally, filed the paperwork, did everything the system tells you to do. He waited 2 months, took her to dinner, and by the next morning she was inside a storage unit less than a mile away. Then, hours later, he drove to his ex-girlfriend's house and opened fire on her and her family.
And I just heard gun, fires flying, and I felt 2 of them like glance past my face. And, I just went running in fear for my life.
A Sunday morning shooting adds to the level of concern about Shakeira. Angel Milligan says the bullets hitting her home, shown in these photos, were fired by Cory Hill just after 10 Sunday morning.
There is a lot to get into here. The surveillance footage timestamped down to the minute. The text message she sent her daughter saying she was almost home. The injunction that was supposed to protect her and didn't. The matching cartridge casings that connected 2 separate crime scenes. And a 30-year-old murder conviction from Virginia that nobody in her life knew about, until it was too late to matter. His name is Cory Hill. Before any of this, he was running an electrical business, active in his church, presenting himself as a man who'd put his past behind him. He hadn't. The woman at the center of this story is Shakeira Rucker. She was 37, a mother of 4, a hair braider in Winter Springs, Florida. Her family says she just wanted to work, go to church, and take care of her kids. I want to warn you, this case involves domestic violence and gun violence, and some of what we're about to cover is difficult to hear. This is Crime Scene Hive. If you're new here, subscribe, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Like this video, share it if you think someone needs to see it, and let's get into everything that happened. On November 11th, at around 7:30 in the evening, Shakeira Rucker walked out of her home in Winter Springs, Florida. She told her children she'd be back. She was 37 years old, a mother of 4, ages 7, 9, 16, and 18. By the next day, she was gone, and her family didn't know where. They didn't wait long to act. Winter Springs police opened a missing persons case within hours. A reward of up to $5,000 went out for information. Search parties moved through wooded areas near Bob White Airfield and along Round Lake Road, on foot, checking ground that stretched for miles in every direction. Nothing turned up. Investigators had one name early, her estranged husband, Cory Hill. Police named him a person of interest in her disappearance almost immediately. But by the time they wanted to ask him about it, he was already somewhere they could reach him. Orange County deputies said that on the morning of November 12th, a man matching Hill's description approached a woman at her home and opened fire. She wasn't hit. Deputies arrived, and Hill was gone before they got there. He was located and arrested in Mount Dora and booked into the Orange County Jail on 4 counts of attempted murder, held without bond. So investigators had him. Just not for the case that mattered most. Orange County Sheriff John Mina addressed the disappearance directly, telling reporters it was only a matter of time before he'll face charges connected to Rucker as well. But time was the one thing her family didn't have. Every day without an answer was another day of searching ground that had already been searched, another vigil, another interview where Hill said nothing. Because that's what happened next. Detectives wanted to know where Shakeira Rucker was. Cory Hill, sitting in a cell on unrelated charges, gave them nothing. Not a location. Not an explanation. Not a denial. A woman was missing. The man closest to her whereabouts was already behind bars. And still, 6 days would pass before anyone knew what had actually happened to her. If you want to see exactly how those 6 days played out, and how one detail cracked this case wide open, subscribe to Crimestories. We cover cases like this one every week. Angel Milligan met Cory Hill sometime in 2023, and the two dated for about 4 months. She didn't know he was married. Hill told her he traveled for work, an explanation that covered every absence and every night he wasn't where he said he'd be.
Don't run now, you know, you about to die, I'm gonna kill you.
Milligan had dated Hill before learning he was married, then breaking it off.
As far as she knew, she was his girlfriend, nothing more complicated than that. Shakeira Rucker didn't know about Milligan either. She and Hill had married in October 2022, a little over a year before any of this became public. The two households ran side by side for months without touching. Then, in September 2023, that changed. According to Milligan, she found out about the marriage directly from Shakeira herself. Milligan later described the conversation simply. Shakeira asked her if she knew he was married. She didn't. That was the end of it for Milligan. She broke things off with Hill immediately. For Shakeira, the truth changed everything else. She didn't wait for an explanation or try to work through it. She acted immediately, removing Hill from the home they shared. Court records show she also sought a domestic violence injunction against him, a legal order meant to keep him away from her. It was granted. For the 2 months that followed, Shakeira lived apart from Cory Hill. She moved forward with her own life, working, raising her 4 children, and building distance from a marriage that had unraveled faster than it began. Her brother, Clarence Thornton, would later describe how far removed this situation was from who she was as a person, saying, "My sister should have never been in that situation. Not in a million years I would have thought my sister to ever been in that situation.
My sister should have never been in that situation. Not in a million years I would have thought my sister would ever been in that situation. So if you're going through anything like this, please find help."
Her sister, Deidre Rucker, described her afterward in similarly plain terms, calling her a loving mother to 4 children. None of that distance was enough to end things permanently. By November, something brought Cory Hill and Shakeira Rucker back into contact. Whether it was a conversation about reconciliation, or simply an agreement to talk things through in person, isn't something public records make clear. What is clear is that despite the injunction, despite 2 months of separation, despite everything that had already gone wrong, the two of them arranged to meet. On the evening of November 11, 2023, Shakeira left her home to see him. It would be the last time her children saw her alive. The last confirmed sighting of Shakeira Rucker alive came on the night of November 11, roughly 50 miles from her home, at a retail store and restaurant in Davenport, Florida. Surveillance footage placed her there with Cory Hill. Nothing about the footage suggested a struggle or an argument. 2 people, sitting down together, doing exactly what people do when they meet for dinner. What happened in the hours after that dinner is where the timeline turns. Just after 6:30 the next morning, November 12, surveillance cameras at a storage facility on Wiggins Road in Apopka recorded a car pulling in. 2 people inside, matching the descriptions of Hill and Rucker. At 6:39 a.m., Hill punched in his access code and entered the facility grounds. 7 minutes later, at around 6:45 a.m., a text message went out from Shakeira's phone to her daughter. The message said she was on her way home, and that she had food with her. Her daughter read it and waited. The walk through the door that message promised never happened. Less than 20 minutes after Hill and Rucker entered the storage facility together, surveillance cameras recorded him leaving. Alone. Rucker was never seen leaving the unit. She would later be found inside. When her family reached out to Hill directly, asking where she was, he told them she wasn't with him, and that he hadn't seen her since around 6:30 that morning. That statement would not hold up against what the cameras and the timestamps already showed. Hill wasn't finished that morning. Just after 10 a.m., roughly 3.5 hours after he was seen leaving the storage facility alone, deputies responded to a call at a home on Holly Creek Road in Orange County. According to the woman who lived there, Angel Milligan, Hill approached her and her family outside the house and opened fire. She said she heard a bullet pass close enough to her ear that she felt it move the air beside her face. No one at the home was struck. Hill fled before deputies arrived. The shooting at Milligan's home wasn't just an act of violence against a woman he used to date. It was also a direct violation of the domestic violence injunction Shakeira had taken out against him 2 months earlier, an order that was still legally active at the time. Deputies located Hill a short time later in Mount Dora. He was arrested and charged with 4 counts of attempted murder, then booked into the Orange County Jail without bond. By the end of that Sunday, less than 24 hours after the last confirmed sighting of Shakeira Rucker, 3 things were true at once. She had not come home. The man last seen with her had lied about the final hour they were together. And that same man was now sitting in a jail cell, on a completely different charge, saying nothing about where she was. Nobody knew yet what those surveillance timestamps would eventually prove. Nobody knew a locked storage unit less than a mile from where Hill had just been recorded on camera would end up being the answer everyone was searching for. That discovery was still 6 days away. If a timeline like this is the kind of thing that keeps you watching until the very end, subscribe to Crime Scalers. This is exactly how we break every case down, minute by minute, fact by fact. For 6 days, Shakeira Rucker's whereabouts remained unknown to everyone except, potentially, one man who wasn't talking. Her family didn't stop searching. A candlelight vigil was held for her while she was still classified as missing, her relatives standing together, asking anyone with information to come forward. Investigators, meanwhile, were working a separate angle entirely, one her family didn't yet know about. Cory Hill was still in custody at the Orange County Jail, held on the attempted murder charges from the shooting at Angel Milligan's home. According to investigators, he had already been named a person of interest in Rucker's disappearance, but he declined to cooperate when asked about where she was. No location. No explanation. Just silence, from the one person who had been with her last. While Hill said nothing, the evidence started speaking for itself. Forensic analysts examined the cartridge casings recovered from the scene at Milligan's home and compared them to ballistic evidence tied to Hill. The casings matched. Investigators also placed Hill's vehicle at both locations tied to the case, the storage facility and the shooting scene. Separately, cell phone data connected to Hill contradicted the account he'd given Rucker's family, that he'd dropped her off near her apartment and hadn't seen her since. The data didn't support that timeline. Neither did the fact that surveillance footage never showed her leaving the storage facility at all. The break-in locating her came from somewhere investigators weren't looking. At the same storage facility on Wiggins Road, a man renting the unit next to Hill's noticed something wrong. A reddish liquid had begun seeping under the shared wall between units, along with a smell that got worse by the day. He raised the issue with facility staff more than once. According to his account, he was told it was likely something ordinary, possibly a leak or a spill. Unconvinced, he documented what he was seeing himself and eventually called 911. Deputies responding to the call went to the facility. When they arrived, staff working on scene identified the unit in question as one registered to Cory Hill. The facility manager cut the lock herself. Deputies were dispatched to the address on Wiggins Road just before 5 p.m. on November 18. 6 days after Shakeira Rucker was last seen alive. 6 days after a text message told her daughter she was on her way home. Deputies who entered the unit found a body matching Rucker's description. Forensic examiners on scene recovered spent cartridge casings and documented evidence indicating she had died from gunshot wounds. Sheriff John Mina addressed reporters shortly after, saying the storage unit had been rented in Hill's name, and that Hill, quote, had to have known we would eventually find her in there. He called the outcome very, very disappointing. The search for Shakeira Rucker was over. The investigation into who was responsible, and why, was only getting started. But this isn't where everything started. To understand who Cory Hill really was, Investigators had to go back more than 30 years, to a case that had nothing to do with Florida at all. In December 1992, in Suffolk, Virginia, a then 20-year-old Cory Hill believed his 1988 Ford Tempo had been stolen, with his infant daughter still inside the vehicle. According to court records, Hill came to believe that an 18-year-old named Dauntwine Everett was responsible, and that Everett had left the infant in a ditch after taking the car. His daughter survived. What happened next did not end the same way. Hill went to Everett's home on Chisholm Lane. According to court documents, the two got into an argument, and Hill shot Everett multiple times. Everett died at the scene. A jury convicted Hill of second-degree murder the following year, and he was sentenced to serve time in a Virginia prison, a term that combined roughly 20 years for the murder conviction itself with an additional sentence for using a firearm in the commission of a felony. Hill was released from custody in 2015. By 2016, he had relocated to the Orlando area, roughly 1,000 miles and more than 2 decades away from the crime that had defined the first part of his adult life. Nothing about the move suggested he was running from anything. He built a life that looked, from the outside, like a clean break from his past. Court records show that break wasn't as complete as it appeared. In 2009, while still in Virginia, Hill was brought before a judge on 3 separate occasions on charges of assault and battery. None of those cases involved a killing. But they showed a pattern, a man cycling through the legal system on violent charges more than once, well before he ever met Shakeira Rucker or Angel Milligan. For Rucker's family, none of this history was known to them while she was alive. Her sister, Deidre Rucker, said it plainly after learning what investigators had uncovered. She described Hill as someone who presented himself as, in her words, a man of God in the church, and said the family never knew about any of it.
He was supposed to be a trusted man of God. This is all a shock.
That gap, between the man Cory Hill presented to the people in his life and the record that existed on him decades earlier, would become one of the central facts prosecutors leaned on. Not because a 1992 conviction in Virginia proved anything about what happened in a storage unit in Apopka on its own, but because it established something courts take seriously when a second killing is on the table. This was not the first time Cory Hill had taken a life in an act of violence tied to rage. It would not be the last piece of his history to matter in a courtroom either. In the days following the discovery, prosecutors moved quickly. Cory Hill was initially charged with second-degree murder with a firearm, a procedural step required before a case can be presented to a grand jury in Florida. That changed in January 2024, when an Orange County grand jury formally indicted Hill on 9 counts, including first-degree murder, a capital offense. State Attorney Andrew Bain announced the indictment directly, and along with it, his office's intent to seek the death penalty. Bain pointed to 2 specific factors behind that decision. The first was what he called the cold, calculating methodology of the killing itself, a storage unit rented in advance, a body concealed inside it. The second was Hill's prior conviction from 1992, the second-degree murder charge out of Suffolk, Virginia that had stayed buried for more than 3 decades before Rucker's case brought it back into public record. Alongside the murder charge, Hill faced 4 additional counts of attempted murder tied to the shooting at Angel Milligan's home, along with burglary, shooting into an occupied dwelling, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and violating the domestic violence injunction Rucker had taken out against him months earlier. Hill's defense pushed back on how the case against him had been built. His attorney filed a motion to suppress evidence recovered from the storage unit, arguing deputies had opened it without a warrant, before establishing proper legal grounds to search it. Prosecutors contested the motion. A hearing was held, and the presiding judge ultimately denied the request. The evidence collected from Unit 3032 remained admissible. As of the most recent public court records available, Cory Hill's case has not yet gone to trial, and no verdict has been reached. The legal process, from indictment through pretrial motions, has continued for over 2 years. What has moved forward in that time is what Shakeira Rucker's family chose to build in her absence. They set up a fund to support her 4 children, an effort that has drawn tens of thousands of dollars in public support. Her sister, Deidre Rucker, described her simply as a loving mother to 4 beautiful children, and a victim of senseless violence.
Not knowing where to start, it's hard. She have 4 kids. Four kids and me, her.
Shakeira Rucker did what she was told to do. She left. She filed for protection. She built distance. The injunction against Cory Hill existed, on paper, the entire time. It did not stop him from entering a storage facility with her on the morning she disappeared. This case is still moving through the courts, and when a verdict comes, we'll cover it. If you want to be here when that happens, subscribe to Crime Scalers now, so you don't miss it.